Hi, I'm Dr. Funke Brown. Welcome to my channel. I am the founder of the Restful Sleep MD, where we help families, especially busy moms, prioritize sleep in their children so that they can reach their fullest potential. So today I wanted to talk about what happens when sleep training doesn't seem to be working. And this is something that I frequently encounter in my practice where moms come in extremely frustrated. They've tried all the different sleep training methods, whether it's the cry it out method or the graduated extension or the full extension or the chair method, and the list goes on, and nothing just seems to be working. And these children don't seem to be getting it, especially infants. And so I just wanted us to go over some reasons why it seems like sleep training doesn't seem to be working. So regardless of the type or the method of sleep training you decide to move forward with for your child, the goal is the same. The goal is to have your child fall asleep independently and stay asleep. And this is a skill that every infant, every child can learn. It does vary from child to child. So there are a few reasons why it may seem like sleep training is not working. The first reason I would say is it may be that the child is overtired. And so there's a sweet spot where your child is really ready to be put to bed. And sometimes when they miss that window, they may be overtired and it seems like they're crying more and they're having a harder time settling down. And so to address that, you may need to move them to a slightly earlier bedtime. So that's definitely something that you can consider. Number two is that some children may just take a little more time. Typically, what we say is usually when you start sleep training, within about 2 or 3 weeks, usually the child is able to settle down and able to sleep. For some children, it may take a little bit longer. And so at times having expectations for yourself and for your family in terms of what exactly is going on. And this may vary based on the child's temperament as well as the parent's temperament. So that's the second reason. Another one that I see very frequently is inconsistency. And this can vary between inconsistency in terms of when you're putting them to bed or the bedtime routine, the time they're going to bed. It may be the inconsistency in your method. So if you're mixing methods, meaning that you try one system one day and then you're like, oh my gosh, I can't try that. That was too painful. I'm going to try something else. I'm going to go from checking in frequently to just abruptly leaving the room. And so that may send mixed messages to your child. And so they just really have a hard time knowing what to expect. So inconsistency can be a big one. Under that inconsistency as well, something else I would say is inconsistency with the approach by the caregivers. So you may already have a system in place and say, listen, we're going to just, gradually fade ourselves from the room, or your partner does something else or has a different feel to it. So that also can cause some confusion and can delay that sleep training method. And so to address that is really establishing a plan and staying with it. And what I really recommend, every method can work. The issue is commitment and really seeing what works for you and what works for your family. So what works for one person may be fine, but then if it doesn't work for you, you don't have to stick to that method. You choose one and usually you want to stick with it. And that's usually ideal. Another reason why it may seem like sleep training is not working is there may be some subtle negative sleep associations. So while you may already be putting the child to sleep, are you giving them a bottle just before they fall asleep? So they're still falling asleep on a bottle. Or are you patting them and so they're beyond drowsy and now they're actually asleep before you leave the room? And so those are some associations you can check right at the beginning of the night, because that can also delay the duration of their sleep training. And then the last, definitely not the least, something that's really important is that there might be an underlying disorder, a medical sleep disorder, or any type of medical disorder. So this can be a child who has reflux, for instance, and so they're crying, not necessarily because they want you to pick them up, but because they're uncomfortable, they're in pain. So that can cause a lot of discomfort, and it can mimic a delay in sleep training. Another reason why they might actually also have a delay is if they have sleep or disorder like obstructive sleep apnea. And so you might have a child who is snoring, and because they're snoring, they may be having pauses in their breathing. That can actually wake them up in the middle of the night, and so they are just in this vicious cycle. Another thing, things like allergies, seasonal allergies with a lot of congestion and discomfort can also affect your sleep training process. A frequent one I see as well is pain from ear infections and things like that. So there's some medical considerations that really should be addressed in order to successfully sleep train your child. So again, regardless of the method, every child can be trained to sleep. Every child typically developing can learn how to fall asleep on their own. It may take a process. It may take ironing some kinks. It may also take going through and trying to see what are the barriers or what's going on with the method, or our consistency with the method, or what's going on with any underlying disorder that can be affecting the results that you want to see. And so those are just some reasons why I feel children may have a hard time with sleep training. And so hopefully this has been helpful. If it has, I would love it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, as well as share this episode with those in your circle. Until next time, I hope you rest well.